Yo guys, what is going on? Blossoms back and welcome back to the episode of Sound Drives. Now this feels weird because my regular Logitech webcam is dead. I think for some reason I can't seem to get it working, and I don't touch that thing. I've not touched my Logitech webcam in years at this point. It's just always been working every time I switch on OBS, but this time it didn't seem to work. So we're using my laptop's webcam right now. But anyway, today I want to talk about upgrades, okay? Photo changes in particular. Now I had the idea for this video because about a week ago, or just a little less than a week ago, I encountered this daily. You get this daily like once or twice a month or something like that. It's the RQ495 2010 to 2019 four-wheel drive daily event. And I get it. I know some people out there are going to be asking the question already. Blossom, I don't have a daily event. Why? You need to hit a certain level. I think it's like RQ 495 or RQ 500. You need to be almost just like done with the RQ stuff, and then you get your daily event. So if you're wondering, that's why. Anyway, I was playing this daily event, and this Remac Concept S is actually one of the best cars that you can use. If you upgrade this baby right here, you'll be in a very good spot, as long as you have 4 other cars to back it up, to actually win this daily. And I was using this, right? And I have the Remac Concept S, and I've had this car for a couple of years now, and I kind of thought to myself, I really hate this car. Like, I really don't want to upgrade it. Like, it's so good. I know, I get it. It's very, very useful. If you are playing in the freaking prelims right now for the Lamborghini Authentica, the Remac Concept S is a fantastic car for you to use as well. It's the best car that you can use on the 1-mile track set, for example. But, I'm still not, I don't want to upgrade it. And why do I not want to upgrade the car? I thought to myself, and I was like, yeah, it's because it's ugly. I look at the car and I think it's absolutely hideous. Like, what am I looking at? It's a wheel, it's a really bad photo. And this is, my personal opinion, but I think that the photo is worse because the wall in the background does the car a disservice. I mean, the wall is either too tall or something, but it makes the Remac look like a model car. It makes it look very small. I get it, the Remac is very low to the ground, but the fact that it's not even taller than the wall just rubs me the wrong way. I think that this is a model car. I think it's tiny. I can't see the full thing, and it's just overall a really hideous photo. And it does have its repercussions. If you have an ugly photo, I don't want to collect you. I don't want to upgrade you, etc., etc., etc. So when I was thinking to myself when I played this daily, why have I not touched the Remac? It's because it's disgusting. I don't like the photo. And in the history of top drives, we have seen a lot of really bad photos, like the old Roof Dakara photo or the Mazda Carol. We all loved the fact that it was pink and all, but you couldn't see the full thing. Or you got the MG Montego Turbo, where you couldn't see the back or the front of the car. The background was just white. Then there was the Lancia Beta HPE, but what even is that? Like, I don't know my Lancias very well. If you told me what a Lancia Beta HPE is, I couldn't tell you if it was an estate, a saloon, or a hatchback. And guess what? You can't tell from that photo either. If you don't know that car so well, you don't know if it's an estate or a saloon or a coupe or whatever. The answer might be in the name, but I don't even know what HPE stands for, okay? So we've seen some pretty bad photos in the past when it comes to this game. But there was this small period, I think around last year and the year before that, where with every little update, Hutch decided to revamp some cars photos as well. And I feel like in the most, recent updates, we've kind of gone away from that. Like we might get some photo changes for like 2 or 3 cars, but it never comes in mass anymore. And I really hope that Hutch continues with this process. There's still a lot of cars in the game that really needs a photo overhaul. Here are some old ones that I took from, my heritage content, my heritage videos. Basically every slide that I make, I still have at my disposal. I can still edit, I can still use. So from a video about a year ago where we talked about a lot of photo changes, I still have a lot of the older photos and the newer ones as well. OGs will remember, okay? You don't need to be an OG, but I guess an older player will remember, the old Alpine GTA V6 photo, the old BMW 330D, all the photos that you see towards the left are the older photos. The old Copperhead photo, that was absolutely disgusting. It's a really ugly car, and even though it has a way better photo now, it's still really really ugly. But at least, you know, it looks the part. You can see the full thing, which is really nice. There were some really quirky changes, like the orientation change. They just flipped the direction of the Di Tommaso Guara, which I thought was really funny. They changed the Lancia Beta, and look at that, man. It ends up being some kind of shooting brake kind of situation, and they changed the car entirely. The grill's completely different as well. So yeah, there were a lot of photo changes. Here's some more photo changes if you want to see it. The OG Mazda Furai photo, which honestly was really cool in my opinion. They just zoomed out a little bit more. I thought that was really cool. But the new Mazda Furai photo is pretty cool too. The Carol has changed as well. The roof, oh my goodness, the roof 3400S, the old photo of that was absolutely horrendous. So I'm glad they switched that up. And as you can see that there is actually a genuine improvement in a lot of these cars. I really distaste and really thought that the roof, you know, 3400S was a hideous car to unpack. But if I were to unpack the same car now, I'm just like, yeah, okay, that's inoffensive, that's fine, that's okay. And then some cars actually get, you know, benefits. In my opinion, you know, in my own garage, like the Volkswagen Jetta, for example. With the older photo, I never bothered to fully upgrade it. But when it got its new photo with that sunset background and, you know, just better orientation all around, I actually maxed the car. And I don't even like Volkswagen, but it was a really pretty photo. It was a really pretty picture. And you know that quote where, like, you know, when it comes to food, people eat with their eyes. Their first contact is always what they see on their plate. It's the same thing, honestly, when it comes to top drives. See, I have a bias towards Porsche, Mercedes, and Dodge. You give them a crappy photo, I'll be really mad, but I will still collect it nonetheless. But if you give a really crappy photo on like a Mazda, for example, and I have no bias towards a Mazda, and it's just like a so-so car, you know, more chances than not, I'm just going to discard it. I'm going to throw it away because it doesn't look good. It's not presented well. But if you really give me a good photo, for example, like on the Volkswagen Jetta, you know, it might actually change my mind about something. I might actually want to upgrade something, you know, I might want to keep it. I might want to use it. And I gotta say, I gotta give props to Hutch because it's really the older cars with really bad photos. All of the newer updates since about like Great Exhibition, not Great Exhibition, what was it? World Expo. Since about World Expo, which was like, what, 3 years ago now? Just about every single update that has succeeded that has been given banger photos, like absolutely crazy good photos. For example, the most recent update we had was the Asia Pacific Revival, right? We had the Honda Civic photo, which I think is just gorgeous. The Zenvo pictures are great. The Audi photos are great. I love the Devo photo so much. It's amazing, right? So when it comes to the newer updates, they've definitely turned a new leaf. Like I can confidently say, like at least I'm 95% confident that with every update that we get from now on in top drives, we're gonna get banger photos for the most part. That being said though, I want to present 25 cars that still need an upgrade. 25 cars that came from previous updates. And I think every single car that you see here is going to precede World Expo. I'm pretty sure almost every single one. There might be one car that came after World Expo, but most of them probably came before World Expo. 25 cars, in my opinion, have hideous photos in top drives that need to get revamped. So we're going to start off with the Lamborghini Gallardo Spider. Look, there are two things that we can do here. We can just either zoom out, or we can just change the photo entirely. Now, this one I do find one little pet peeve that I really dislike. And let me know if you guys agree with me down in the comments below. Look, I get that, you know, Hutch is British, and I get it's a British game, you know, and I'm pretty sure they get their photos from Auto Evolution, and maybe that's a British magazine. But one thing that really annoys me is that most cars in top drives, if they have a license plate in the photo, it's almost always a British license plate, and it pisses me off if the car isn't British or even from Europe. Like, for example, there are a lot of, like, let me go back to the Honda, for example, okay? That doesn't have a, I'm not sure if that's a British license plate or like an EU license plate, but what I mean is that, you know, I feel like if you're gonna add in a Japanese car, give it a Japanese license plate, you know? And, you know, for me, living, you know, most of my life in the United States and all, and going to Japan like just about every year on holiday now, my eyes are more acclimated and more used to seeing like a square car plate compared to a rectangle car plate. And to me, I think that the American or the Japanese or even the Thai, you know, square car plate just looks a lot more sexy than the This is a subjective thing, and I think a lot of people might disagree. But like, what I can say though to make it fair is like, if you're gonna get a Japanese car, if you're gonna get an American car, put American plates on it. Put Japanese plates on it, if they're gonna have plates on it. One thing that really pisses me off is I think there's like a couple Dodge Vipers that they added. I think it was like the SRT10 Gen 2 Viper that has like either British or European plates on it. That pisses me off. Like, put an American plate on that. Come on. So that's one pro about this Lamborghini Gallardo Spider. It doesn't have a British plate, so that's pretty cool. But I still think it's a pretty bad photo. And you know, they can either zoom out. Or, you know, just change the photo entirely. And the revised photo is so much better. Once again, shout out to Ben. Ben has made all 25 of these revised cards, and we'll add in his editor's pick at the end of the video as well. And of course, knowing Ben, you know, aside from a shout out, just comment down below what cards would you like to see him make. And that would be good enough. But anyway, here's another card that needs to change. The Maserati Spider. Bro, that is one of the worst photos in top drives right now. You know, one of the worst photos in top drives before they did like an overhaul, I think, was like the Cadillac SRX. That was terrible. But they have gone in and revamped that, which is great. And I feel like they're gonna revamp things again when I make a video about it, and that's why I'm making a video about this. But the Maserati Spider has a disgusting photo. It's absolutely disgusting. The background is so boring. You can't see the car. You know, the entire hood, for crying out loud, is omitted from the picture. So I do think that the revised version just gives it a lot more life. I mean, until today, I don't have the Maserati Spider fully upgraded because it's so hideous. Every time I unpack it, I'm just like, I don't want to see this. I don't want it in my garage. Moving on, we've got the Spiker C8. This is gonna be an ongoing trend in the video, but cars with just white plain backgrounds are just generally pretty disgusting. Not disgusting, but they're just really boring. They're really bland, and you know, I just feel like giving it a little bit more of a vibrant background, maybe one of, you know, that represents the country that it's made in, would be so much better. And you know, once again, we got the Spiker C8 double 12S stage 5, and that is just so much nicer. That palace in the background, oh, that looks good. That looks good. And not to mention, you know, background aside, you can't even see the full Spiker in the original photo in top drives. So you know, having that those rear wheels, you know, having the trunk, you know, like that's important to me. You know, I would actually like to collect the car now if it had the revised image. Moving on, another car that I think needs to be changed, the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution. I think that this is a very fun car. I think that Lancer Evolutions are very good looking cars, and I feel like, you know, the background just gives it a lot of, you know, in service, you know, like I feel like there are better options to use. Again, another thing in my opinion is that I feel like a rolling shot always or almost always looks better than a standing shot. So having a rolling shot of the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo, yeah, that pulls on my heartstrings. I like that. That's a good one. That's cropped really well. Here's another one, the Roof SCR 4.2. I think this is a car that also needs another change. Again, in the revised version, you get to see the whole thing and you get to see the background. I don't know where that is taken in. I want to guess like the Netherlands, because, you know, the flowers, but it might not be. But it's a wonderful image, and I do think that the current, honestly, the current image isn't that bad in my opinion if they just zoomed out a little bit. You know, for some reason I have this bias where I think a black background is a bit cooler than a white background. A white background seems monotone and boring, but a black background, at least it seems menacing. You know, it seems menacing and a little bit badass. So I don't mind black backgrounds as much as I do mind the whiter ones. But anyway, moving on. Yeah, Remac. We talked about this one earlier on. This is the whole reason why I wanted to make this video. I hate the Remac photo. I absolutely hate the Remac photo. Honestly, the revised version, I don't think that's like the greatest photo in the world, but it's definitely an upgrade. And I understand why Ben chose this photo, because I went to look for Remac Concept S photos myself, and honestly, there aren't a lot of good ones out there. So, you know, the one that Ben chose is good enough. There's an orientation shift. You can at least see the entire front of the car, and gone is that stupid wall, right? I don't like the wall. It makes the car look like it's a toy. It makes it look small. I don't like it. And also the people in the background, it just makes it look small in my opinion. I think the newer photo is just a little bit better. It's also in higher, it's more, the clarity is better. Like it's clearer as a photo, you know, it's in higher definition is what I wanted to say. So that also helps. Moving on, Koenigsegg Jesko attack. Yeah, this needs to change. The Koenigsegg Jesko, even though it's cropped well, you get to see the entire thing. That's a 3D image, right? That's a PC render. That's what it is. That's not even the real freaking Koenigsegg Jesko. Like, you can do better than that. You know, it's a freaking prize car. It's a Koenigsegg Jesko attack. Give it some flair, you know? Like, it's like you would never represent A5 Wagyu beef and serve it in a plastic cup. You would just never do that. Give it some respect, right? And I think that the photo of the Koenigsegg Jesko attack is just a disgrace. It's so bad. Like, at least the Jesko Absolute, that's a pretty nice photo. But they gotta upgrade that Jesko attack photo. You know, one car that I didn't consider for this series, but I should have added as well, another car which I think is of a very high level of respect that I think should be, held in a very high level of respect is the Porsche 918. I think the Porsche 918 has a pretty bad photo in top drives, but I don't have it included in today's video. Here's another one. This is gonna be a three-peat, okay, of just the Nissans. I don't know what Nissan's media team was thinking about, but when they gave these photos to Hutch and they gave them just all the same, like, white background, it's the same thing. The Nissan just took their photos from like their catalog somewhere, just like, yeah, just use these, and it makes the cars so lifeless. Like, look at the R33 LM, the current one. Now look at the Silvia GT300 S14A. It's the same thing. White background, and the photo is like, what, fucking 240p or some crap like that. You can't even see the entire thing. It's terrible. So again, we've got revamped pictures, one of the GTR R33, and honestly speaking, I think that, of a car of this value, you gotta have that Japanese flag in there. If the Japanese flag is on the frickin' livery, you should be showing that flag with pride. And it annoys me in the current version that it actually just cuts out right before you see the Japanese flag. I guess it would be worse if you cut the Japanese flag in half, instead of just omitting it entirely. But dude, yeah, just fly that loud and proud, dude. Like, I'm sure Japan's proud of their R33. It's on the livery. Show it off. I think it looks great. Same thing for the Silvia. I just do not like the white background. And it's the same thing for the Super Silhouette. Like, I don't like the JPT photos for the Nissans. They're terrible. And I don't know what it is with, like, Japanese, manufacturers and just, like, giving the worst photos. But if you realize, in those most recent update for Asia Pacific Revival, a lot of the Mitsuokas have white backgrounds. They're cropped well, at least. That's more than I can say for these Nissans. They're cropped well. You can see the entire thing. And also, a Mitsuoka's a Mitsuoka. I don't really give a shit. Like, you can give it a bad photo and it is whatever. It's a crappy car anyway. But, like, for these Nissans, like, come on, man. You gotta respect them, man. They need better photos, in my opinion. Especially if they're legendaries and epics as well. And most of the cars that you're gonna see here are gonna be legendaries and epics. I really feel like if you're gonna have that rarity, among some of the best rarities in the game, you gotta have some of the best photos in the game as well. Saline S1 is up next. That's a terrible photo of a Saline. Again, it's not the real thing. It's a freaking computer render or whatever. The Saline S1 is better. The one that Ben shows, a way better picture. You get to see the whole thing. It's rolling. It's in motion. It pops. And there's subtle. You can see the sky in the top right corner of the photo, which does ever so subtly contrast the sunburst orange on the car, which is really nice. All right, let's see what we have next. We got the Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG Electric. Honestly, the photo of the current SLS AMG isn't the worst thing in the world. If they just zoomed out a little bit, I think it would be a pretty decent photo as well. But when you get a car like the Mercedes-Benz SLS with the gull wing doors, I'm pretty sure they're called gull wing doors. If they're not, I do apologize. But you gotta just showcase that. If you can, might as well showcase that, dude. That is sick. And it's the same thing for the Koenigseggs, if you want to showcase their whatever spirally dynamo here, blah 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 doors, those would be pretty cool too. Or the suicide doors as well on like some certain cars, like is it Rolls Royce that has them? Well, the Rolls Royce on the game, Lamborghini, right? Or the what is it, the Swan doors on an Aston Martin or something like that. Anyway, what's next? Lotus Carlton. Yeah, this honestly, in my opinion, is going up there of one of the worst photos in top drives. I'm actually genuinely surprised that they've not changed this photo yet in top drives. But yeah, the Lotus Carlton needs a photo change, dude. This thing's a badass. If you look at it in its entirety, right now, and the current photo in top drives makes it look like it's like a hatchback almost. But honestly, it looks like a muscle car. When you see it in full view, it looks like a muscle car, and I freaking love it. And they just need a better photo of the Lotus Carlton. I think it's a really badass looking car. I want this as a Hot Wheel Premium. I want a model car of this in my collection. I think it's so cool. But that photo just doesn't do it any justice, man. I remember when I first heard of the Lotus Carlton, it was from Top Drives. I didn't know this car existed before Top Drives. And when I first saw it, I was like, yo, this car kind of shit. Like, it looks really ugly. I don't like it at all. And then, like, later on, I actually saw an actual photo of the Carlton. I was like, oh my god, it actually looks so damn good. Oh man, it's one of those cars that really suffers. Here's another one, Volkswagen Passat. Change the photo, change the background, and it's gonna look way more enticing for everybody. Here we go. Here's some that, you know, hits close to home. We got a couple of mercs I want to show off. The E320, I think that this just needs a quick little zoom out. I think the original photo is already okay. I like the spec of the E320 in the photo actually, but it just needs to zoom out a little bit more. Or, you know, the spec in the E320 in Ben's revised picture is equally as great. A lot of the enthusiasts for the W124 tend to agree that the gray and black tone, duotone, is like, you know, the elite combination, and I get that. It's very nice, very regal. But yeah, overall, I think that this needs a photo change as well, in my opinion. Here's another one, the Mercedes-Benz 300 CE24 Cabriolet. This one's from a pretty recent update, actually, all things considered, compared to everything else that you see here. That being said, way too low to the ground, too much open space on the top, and you can't see the back of the car, which I think it does annoy me a little bit. I do love the photo that Ben chose. Specifically for the rims, I'm a huge fan of those AMG monoblocks, and if you can slap an AMG monoblock on any of these, you know, classic 124s, 126s, or even R129s, that's just an extra bonus in my book. I absolutely love it. Also, he's got the soft top on, which I think is pretty nice. I don't really like the looks of convertibles as well, so I think overall that's just a way better photo. Here's another one, Spiker C8. I think this one, I think a lot of people can also agree, is probably in the running for one of the worst photos in the game. Even though the door is open and they're cool and all, but like, what the hell am I seeing over here, you know? This reminds me of the old Bentley EXP GT photo. They've changed that now, which is cool. I think they zoomed out. But yeah, this reminds me, it has the same vibe, and this needs, that needs a change. Here's one that I think needs a massive change as well, the Porsche 911 GT3. I love Porsches, and I really think that this photo, honestly, reminiscent of the Porsche 918. The Porsche 918 is like the same kind of angle, very zoomed in on the hood, and you see nothing but the front. You know, it makes the car look so fat. Don't like it, you know? This needs a photo change. The 911 GT3 definitely needs a photo change. A car that has a spoiler, come on, man, you gotta show the spoiler in the photo too, you know? And it's got a better background photo as well in the revised version. Here's another one that needs to change, the Volvo 960 3.0. Again, it's just a really boring background, and you can't see the entire car. They can definitely do better. And then here's another one, the Lamborghini Aventador S. In my opinion, because Ben was asking which were my favorites, I think the Lamborghini Aventador S is top 3. Like, out of all the 25 cars that he did, I think the Aventador S is top 3. I think that's one of the nicest ones. The Aventador S, the 911 GT3, and the Koenigsegg, those are probably among my top 3. From what I can remember, those are the 3 that stuck with me the most. But this is beautiful. And one of the main reasons for it is because the color of the car contrasts. Not contrast, but it, what's the word? It complements the color of the rarity, right? The gold S, legendary rarity, and that gold yellowish Aventador S. It's beautiful. Also, it reminds me of, I can't see who's driving that. That's not Jeremy Clarkson. But I'm pretty sure Jeremy Clarkson drove a Aventador S of the similar color, or even the same color, right? In the Grand Tour, the one where Hammond crashes Rimac. I'm pretty sure it was the same color, or it was either this or blue, one or the other. I know they're completely different colors, but my memory is not very good sometimes. Here's another one, the AC MK. That number, GT Big Block, that needs a photo change. This is a terrible, terrible photo, and I just hate the background. And it's such a beautiful car. Show me the side exhausts, please. The whole thing. Oh man, that's the original photo is doing it such an injustice. Here's another one, the BMW M340i X-Drive Saloon. Come on, man, you can do better than that too, right? You can definitely do better than that. The new photo is just so much nicer. And then we've got the Subaru Impreza WRX STI S203. Now, this represents many Subarus in the game. I do feel like there are a lot of these Subarus that have really bad photos, and I think they all need a revamp. Especially the older ones, the 2000 Subarus in particular, they got some pretty bad photos, some, you know, very zoomed in, white background, stuff like that. JPT, probably the last update that gave us a lot of crap photos, huh? I know, after JPT, I think the photos got pretty good afterwards. And we got the Super Forester, another JPT car. I think this should probably get another photo change as well. I think the original photo isn't the worst thing in the world, but they could definitely do better. You know, they completely omitted the rear tires, which I think is just terrible. And then last but not least, no, not last but not least, 2 more. So there's the penultimate photo, because we do have an editor's pick at the end of this. We have the Porsche 911 Carrera 4. You know, dude, you gotta pick a disability. You're already an RQ65 GRE. You already have 84 handling, and you already have 4-wheel drive. At least look good with bad stats, you know? You can be a good-looking person that's just, like, in bad health. And right now, the 911 Carrera 4 in top drives is a bad-looking person in bad health. At least the revised version would be a good-looking person in bad health. You know, stats are still terrible, but at least it's a good-looking car. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, that needs another photo change as well. I think a lot of Porsches are in for some photo revamps. And, you know, ending off, we got an editor's pick here, the Koenigsegg CCGT. I get why he chose it. The background is boring. It really is. But at the same time, you know, I think that the current CCGT photo is not the most inoffensive. It's not the most offensive thing in the world. It's pretty inoffensive. It could be cropped a little bit better, but it's just a really cool car. I think what carries the CCGT is that it's just a really cool car in general. But obviously the revised version is just 10 times better. But anyway, guys, that's gonna be it for today. These are my 25 plus 1 picks for cars that I just genuinely think need a revamp. You know, whenever Hutch decides to release new photos again, I really hope to see a lot of these cars on that list. Things like the Porsche 911 Carrera 4. That photo is a no-no. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today. I hope you guys have a great day. We're going to stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Sit back, relax in my Bonneville Pontiac. Hold tight all night, cruise to Jacksonville.
Atlantic.
Blonde hair, don't